But Canada's C11 is just a baby step towards what's going on in Ireland. Now, I know a lot of people know about what's going on with Canada's bill. I definitely know about that. But I don't know if people really understand what's going on in Ireland, which is it's not good. C11 in Canada is just a small step towards it. It'll get there eventually, but Ireland is really going for it. This thing, we've got the thing right here. Yep. This thing is called the Criminal Justice Incitement to Violence or Hatred and Hate Offenses Bill 2022. This is the new bill going on in Ireland. I know I've got a couple people that watch from Ireland, so yeah. Yeah, I know I'm American and we tend to talk about a lot of stuff in the US, but we got to pay attention to everything, I'm telling you. Um, this thing is not good. I mean, you can see kind of a little thing. Of course, there's the cookie thing at the bottom. Accept all cookies. No. Um, Bill entitled an act to amend the law relating to prohibition of incitement to violence or hatred against a person or a group. So we're starting to get into hate law here. That's never a good sign. Or a group of persons on account of certain characteristics referred to as a protected characteristics of the person or the group or persons, and to provide for an offense of condoning, denying, or grossly, and it's cut off by the cookie thing. That's all right. I actually wasn't planning on reading that, but I did anyways. Okay, so what is this thing? Usually, whenever you see anything involving hate law and stuff like that, it's never good. I'm telling you guys, it's never good. This bill is so radical that even processing or possessing something they deem as material that is likely to incite violence or hatred against a person or group can get you thrown in prison for up to 2 years. So basically, what this thing is if you possess something that they think is hateful, and they deem that you plan on putting it out in some type of way publicly, you are now under this law where they can throw you in prison for 2 years. That's how bad this thing is. I mean, we saw also in Canada, they were talking about the alphabet thing where they're going to create a protected zone. And if you are in that zone and you say something that offends the alphabet person, you can get a fine like $25,000 or something like that. This thing takes it to a whole nother level. And I know a lot of people are saying, well, this is Ireland. Ireland tends to get forgotten, but guys, the stuff starts somewhere and then it starts going everywhere. And that C11 bill is going to turn into this. There's also bills everywhere in Australia and the United States and in Europe and stuff like that that are all similar to this. It's not as extreme, but it's all a starting point to get into this. It's this hate law stuff is so vague and generalistic. They just make something up on the spot, and that's how it goes. So if you're accused, if the accused, the person, if accused, there we go, the person with the material is required the burden of proof. So if you've got something that they deem will be offensive or hateful to somebody or a group, and then they say, oh, you plan on putting that out publicly in some type of way, even if you weren't, but they say it, since you now have been accused and you are in possession of that stuff, you are now being charged with something that can put you in prison for 2 years. And then it is not the requirement of the law or the government to provide proof that that's what you were going to do. No, you are required to provide proof that that is not what you were going to do. You see how tangle web, slippery slope this starts getting into? They can just make something up, put it on you, and then you're required to provide proof that what they just made up is false. That's not going to end well. Now, let's take a look at the second part of this bill right here. If you plan to use any material deemed as offensive for anything other than personal use, you violate the law. You can see it right there, section A. Prepares or possess material that is likely to incite violence or hatred against a person or a group of persons on account of their protected characteristics or any of those characteristics. Basically, what they're saying is you can't say anything bad to anybody alphabet or bad government or anything like that that they would deem offensive. And as we know, we are just a wonderful society built of very thick-skinned people who don't get offended by anything. We know that's exactly how society is now, right? Right? I mean, am I wrong? I don't think I'm wrong. Okay. Maybe I'm reaching on that one. Either way, where am I going with this? Street preaching is done in Ireland. Street preaching is done in Ireland. You can no longer go out into the street with your Bible. Sorry. You can no longer go out into the street with your Bible and start preaching about Jesus, because I guarantee somebody will find that offensive. They will report you. You are in possession of a Bible which would then be deemed offensive or hateful material towards whoever else that was offended by it. And you are now done and go to prison for 2 years for that. That's where we're at now. That's what's going on in Ireland. This thing hasn't passed yet, but it's over halfway there to becoming a law. No more street preaching. No more just saying your opinion. You know, you and a couple mates are sitting at the pub, you know, and you have an opinion, but if somebody overhears you, a Karen or a blue hair or however you want to put it, overhears you and is offended by what you just said, well, there it goes. Let's keep looking at this thing. The bill also states, where's that? If any proceedings, this is down here, section 3, if any proceedings for an offense under the section where it is proved that the accused person was in possession of material such as is referred to in subsection 1, yada, 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 and is reasonable to assume that the material was not intended for personal use of the person shall be presumed until the contrary is proved to have been in possession of the material is a contravention of subsection 1. Again, this is what I was saying. This is straight from the bill. If you are accused and have the material, it is up to you to prove that it was only for personal use and not for public display. Again, say you and grandma are walking to church and you're carrying your Bible and you just happen to pass by somebody and you were talking about how the nuclear family is only one man, one woman, and children who are designated the correct sex and gender at birth. And if somebody finds that offensive, well, they can arrest you and grandma because not only do you have possession of a Bible, but you then said something that is deemed hateful towards a certain group of people. And if that's not enough, the bill keeps going. I don't have this page. Sorry. The bill also states if you refuse to provide police your password necessary to operate the device, so this is for electronic stuff, and any encryption key or code necessary to unencrypt the information, you can be imprisoned for up to a year. So if the police come up to you and say, you must give us your password so we can check your phone or your computer to see if you are in possession of this hateful material, if you refuse to give them the password or the encryption key or whatever, you will then go to jail for a year. That is also in this as well. So, I mean, we've sprinted past censorship now, and we are just entering into wrong think. If you are in any type of way in wrong think and wrong say and wrong belief, They can make this up. They can just make it up. I mean, you're talking about going back to 1930s Germany, where if you could just get stopped on the street and they say papers, please. Well, at this point, what you're doing is you're just walking on the street and the police just happens to look at you and go, I don't like the way that that person looks. And then says, give me your password so I can look through your phone, and you tell them no. Boom. You're arrested for up to a year. It's just at the discretion. They don't have to prove anything. The way that this law is built is they get to just not provide anything. They can just pin whatever they want on somebody. And if you do not play ball, they'll get you. That's what's going on in Ireland with this thing. And that's going to spread.